Peter, great to speak with you, my friend. How are you holding up? I know this is a special week for you. Well, this week and next week, because next week you got a great show we're going to talk about. But this week, my friend, new music. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah.
What's the music? Album, EP, what's going on, man?
Yeah, it's an EP. It's an EP called Songs for When You're Gone that I had been working on with my co-producer Mark Calderon for the last 3 years, I would say, 2 to 3 years. So it's finally nice to have like a body of work that's out in the world. And yeah, it's great that it's out.
Why did you
Yeah.
take so much time for this?
Mostly the pandemic, mostly just like between recording schedules and I would get sick or Mark would get sick, and we just didn't want to get each other sick. And we're just working together in his space called Apartment C out in the Danforth, which is great. And if anybody wants to check that out, you should. But yeah, between that and then finding the right songs for the album, like I've been writing a lot in that time, and finally figured out which songs were the right ones to put on it. In addition to all those pandemic problems that we all have been through. Yeah.
How's the EP representing you right now? What's the music actually about?
Well, Songs for When You're Gone is really about all the past relationships that I've been through in those 2 to 3 years. That, there's a lot of people in my life who I thought would be around forever who are not. And it's really about me processing those emotions. And there's good and bad emotions. I mean, I thought for a long time I wanted to be like the sad boy singer songwriter guy, but like that's not me. That's only like a part of me. And I try my best to show like playful sides. Like there's a song called Laser Gun, which is like me, like I'm a big Star Wars nerd, so that's like me like throwing a bunch of Star Wars space nerdy references into a song, talking about how somebody's love can be so impactful to you in your life and you'll like never forget it. And then on the flip side, there's like songs um like Better, which is talking about me like literally just trying to be a better person and like accepting the fact that sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I'm just not a great person, but I'm like striving and trying my hardest to become the person that I want to be.
I think that's what we all do. So it sounds like this is music that we can all relate to.
Yeah.
Also what's great to relate to is the big event that's going to be coming up at the
Yeah.
revival as we speak, man. You want to talk about it because you're one of the big acts performing on this.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's with Ian James and Dylan, and we're supporting a great cause, which is musicians and mental health, and just like trying to support the Toronto community the best way we can. Because especially I love things like this, like with Canadian Music Therapy. Um, it's something that's not talked about, especially in like the music industry, or like it's kind of swept under the rug. And yeah, I love just bringing awareness to those struggles that we all go through as like artists and musicians, and for people who just need an outlet in their lives, and music can be that, can be the very therapeutic. Music, I say this in my show and I'll say it now, music is not therapy, but it's very therapeutic. You should also go to therapy, but but
You
it can
got
help
you
like a lot.
But and you know what's so interesting because it sounds like what you just said was really kind of what you went through in creating your EP. It was
Right.
therapy for you.
Yeah, it was very therapeutic. It took me I started going to therapy last year, which is great. And I highly recommend everybody, don't wait till you're in a crisis to do it. Just do it, because it makes you understand yourself a lot better. And that's what we all really strive to, especially the people like, I know I have people, we all have friends who think like, I know myself, but like, there's like, you think you do until you sit down with somebody and they're like, do you? And then it makes you like really ponder. But like through music has actually been a really great way for me. Like for all of my life, I'm also like a bass player and like mostly instrumentalist and obviously a songwriter. So like a lot of those things I can use as a vehicle to try to get these thoughts out. But like it it's funny because it always takes an extra step, like going to therapy and like talking with people and like really diving into those things, because music is only the beginning. Music only opens the door for you to like try to see where your emotions are going versus actually talking it through with somebody and like really getting an objective opinion on yourself, which is like what I really love about going to like regular therapy. But yeah, music's also very therapeutic.
You grew up with music. I mean, your dad
Mhm.
is the bomb. For folks who don't know who your dad
Don't tell
is,
him that.
if for folks who don't know who your dad is, please tell us who he is. And also for me,
Yeah.
which is great, Guyanese, man.
Yeah.
Family Guyanese Canadian. I love that, man.
Represent.
There we
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. My dad's he's a singer who's been playing in Toronto since he was 16, and you know, has done all the like scenes, every scene you can imagine, was releasing his own music, was nominated for a Juno, um and now does multiple shows. Like he's just today he was just preparing for a soul show that he's doing. And he's just like a charismatic, like energetic, like really, you know, really inspiring. It's like it's funny with my dad because I find he's very inspiring, but also I was like terrified as a kid to do anything music wise because it was just like a huge shadow to stand behind. Like, and he was always very, and he still is always very supportive, and like, you know, never pressured me to do anything that I didn't want to do. But you know, when I did start getting into music, I did have that like crisis of like, oh, my dad's like this musician that everybody knows, and like, what am I going to be? Or am I going to be always, oh, George's son? But like, you know, now we're on our own paths, like running in tandem, it feels like. So it's like kind of a really nice appreciation as like a father and son, um like music. I wanted to say team, but we don't work together on like a ton of stuff. We want to, but it's always that like, especially father son thing comes into play. It's like, well, what do you know? You're a kid. I'm like, well, what do you know? You haven't like done this part. But he's always open and always like, you know, wants to have a good time and like wants to learn. Like he's been in the pandemic and to the last couple of years, he started learning guitar and like practices like every day. So if you have anybody out there ever thinks that like, and he uses it to calm down too. So talk about music as therapy. He'll like practice like half an hour every day, maybe even more. And just it calms him down and like opens his mind and like it's very cool. Yeah. So that's my dad in a nutshell.
But you do, I mean, your music stands out. But when you have somebody like a Grammy nominee, JP Sachs, saying this is the guy to listen to, this
Mm-hmm.
guy is great, you're gonna love his music. I mean, that's you can't have a higher endorsement than somebody like that doing that for you.
Yeah. And JP is like uh is a friend, and you know, he's been doing his own thing and really doing well, which I'm happy to see. And yeah, it just means a lot when you know, some people, you have people that'll like go to bat for you like that. It's like it's nice. Yeah.
I know you got a bunch of shows coming up. What's going to be happening? First, we should talk about our show.
Yes.
Are you going to be performing? I can't even speak. Performing music from this new EP.
I will definitely be performing music from this new EP. I'll be performing. It's funny. I always play. I like to play like new things that I've been writing, just so it's so I can like gauge. I like using shows as a way to gauge audiences' engagement with new songs that I've been writing. But for the most part, I will be playing. I think I'll probably play most of the things off of the EP, which would be great. Like, because I don't. The only time I played them was on the EP release on Wednesday. I don't play them all super often by myself because sometimes it's hard to play just by myself, or it's not the same. But it went really well, so I might just like start slipping them back into the set. So we're gonna have a great time. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
I love it, and I get to introduce you, so I'm looking forward to that, man.
Yes.
Yeah. What other shows are coming up too, man?
Um, I don't think there's anything at the moment. It's just waiting for it's like festival applications and all that stuff. So like, nothing at the books at the moment. It's kind of like a nice downtime for me where I can push the
Oh,
record.
cool.
Yeah, I can push the record like through social media and like go and different avenues. There might be like smaller shows like that might pop up, but at the moment I'm just like just taking a breath because it's just been like a lot so far. So yeah.
I love it, man. Well, look, I'm so looking forward to seeing you at Revival. This sounds like it's going to be a great show. I mean, three great artists coming together for a great cause.
Yeah.
And like I said, man, love your music. Looking forward to it. Thank you so much for the interview and congratulations on the new music, man.
Oh, thank you. Really appreciate it, man.